Alright, so we have a pretty major leak for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. When the game was first announced, there were pictures online for the game's box. However, it had all of the characters in silhouette on the artwork. These boxes were quickly taken down and replaced with completely blank boxes without the silhouettes. However, fans were quick to figure out who some of these yet-to-be-revealed fighters' silhouettes actually belong to. Later, when the official Twitter page for the game was launched, we got a banner that had artwork for some of the fighters that matched up with the artwork on the silhouettes for the box. Well, now it seems the game's actual cover art of all the characters without them being in silhouette, has actually leaked. Over on Twitter, @Necrolipe posted this, showing what appears to be a finished image of the game's cover artwork without any of those silhouetted characters. You can actually see everybody. This is supposedly coming from the Brazilian eShop and is used as the game's icon on there. So here we can see a clear look at the artwork for the cover, and we also have 4 characters that are yet to be revealed: Korra, Aang, Ren, and Stimpy. The artwork here looks really great. I dig how this game is giving like dynamic poses and attack-ready faces to all the characters. It's really cool. I like this aesthetic. And of course, if this is indeed real, then our guesses for those 4 remaining unrevealed box art fighters were correct. Ren, Stimpy, Korra, and Aang will be in the game. Alright, so this wasn't the only leak for this game to happen recently. In my last video, I went over the Garfield leak. Basically, a website, PCMrace.com, claimed they were given some images of unrevealed fighters, most notably and prominently displayed being Garfield. The devs for the game were quick to shoot this supposed leak down as being fake and gave some evidence by showing a behind-the-scenes look of the real character lineup, with a completely different background than what was in the leaked image. I had trusted the devs were being honest about this leak being fake, so I quickly spread the word to prevent it from getting out of hand. Despite the devs saying it was fake, this potential image leak quickly became a debate of whether or not it was real. Some people believed the leak was real and the devs were just doing damage control by telling people it wasn't. And some people believed the devs were being honest and that the leak was indeed fake. There were good arguments for either stance on the issue, and I tried to fairly present both sides in my last video about the leak. I left off saying I was going to trust the devs here, as they had been very upfront about everything else with this game. And lying to the fanbase is a bad look, especially when the option of just not saying anything is there. Well, now a new theory has emerged that seems strongly in favor of the leak actually being real. This game has multiple companies working on it, so while the developers at one of these companies might be correct in saying it isn't a leak from their work, it could still be a leak from one of these other companies involved in the game. The assumption is that this isn't coming from Game Mill Entertainment or Ludosity, but it might be coming from Fair Play Labs. Fair Play Labs seems to have been brought on to do modeling for the game, and the website this first appeared on, PCMrace.com, is a Latin American website. Fair Play Labs is located in Costa Rica. So it's possible Fair Play Labs is doing character modeling. Their modeling lineup looks different than the lineup the devs have at these other companies, like Ludosity. And this Garfield leak leaked to a Latin American website because the leak is coming from a Latin American company, Fair Play Labs. Seems like a pretty strong explanation for what's happening with this one, in my opinion. It also could explain why the devs might have initially truly believed it was a fake leak, as it didn't look like what they were working with. So if this does turn out to be real, no hard feelings against the devs who said it was fake. Again, I think they might have really believed it was fake initially and weren't lying necessarily here. Anyway, real or fake, I still think Garfield is a very likely character for this game, especially given how much the official Discord seems to like Garfield. There's like tons of Garfield images on there. Garfield was recently acquired by Nickelodeon, so whatever the case may be, he would be a really cool character to see here. Alright, so some other things worth talking about involving Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. Several sites and retailers have listed the release date as October 5th, and the official Twitter account had added October 5th as the release date, but quickly took it down. Unsure if that could mean a potential delay to the game, or if they just didn't want the release date officially revealed yet. I don't know. But I think we should all bust out our Polaris CDs, as most likely we're going to be waiting for October for this game. Speaking of the adventures of Pete and Pete, there was that interview that suggested no live-action brawlers would appear in this game. Over on the Discord, Rep wrote, not to potentially add fuel to a fire, but this technically isn't deconfirmation by Joel. This is the author of the article most likely extrapolating from parts of an interview that weren't cited. But because I am 100% sure this is a fault of the article itself, I'm going to make it explicit. Live action characters are not in the game. So there we go, fully confirmed, no live action fighters. Also, that whole badminton theory has been shot down as well. The badminton tweet was never about a character. Rep was just talking about how much he loves badminton during development. So it seems badminton had nothing to do with any particular character or particular character's moveset. It simply was talked about while working on the game before the game was revealed publicly. Alright, so last time I said the official website for the game had added CatDog and April's character portraits when they got revealed, but had yet to add Sandy for some odd reason. Well, Sandy's portrait is now on the site, and that means we can check her codename, and it's Diver, probably because of the diving suit that she wears. Also, last time I was speculating about Lincoln Loud being seen in his Ace Savi outfit, and how that could potentially mean we might see some unique alt costumes for the fighters. But several people in the comments were quick to point out to me that he appears to be hit out of that costume and back into his normal clothing. So most likely the Ace Savi costume is an attack or game mechanic specific to Lincoln Loud, and not an alternate costume he has. I mentioned how Richard Horvitz apparently said this game would not have any voice acting. However, Sailor on Discord pointed out that the Steam page claims the game has full audio in English. However, that might just be for an announcer voice or something, when like choosing characters or the battles begin and end, and not that the characters themselves are being voiced. It's been noticed that the copyright for the game is rather odd, with different sites listing different copyrights and series, even sometimes omitting series that other sites' copyright information do include. Just kind of odd, but I wouldn't read too much into it. And if a series isn't in the copyright yet, I don't think that excludes it from potentially getting in, since some of these sites' copyright information are omitting series that we know are in fact already in the game, such as Hey Arnold. Last video I mentioned how IGN had listed the franchises for the game as both Nickelodeon and Nick Jr. I said I wasn't sure how official that was, but maybe something Nick Jr. could end up actually being in the game. However, looking at the franchises listed for other Nickelodeon games, such as Nickelodeon Kart Racers, they also have both Nickelodeon and Nick Jr. written in the franchises. However, no Nick Jr. content is involved, at least not in the Nickelodeon Kart Racer as far as I know anyway. So most likely listing both Nickelodeon and Nick Jr. is just the default way they list the franchises for Nickelodeon games. Amazon Canada had some very interesting information. They said Avatar when listing what shows the cast comes from, suggesting there will be Avatar playable characters. While we have yet to have an Avatar character officially revealed, the box art basically confirms Aang and Korra. Also, we have seen Avatar stages officially revealed. And with this new box art leak that isn't even silhouetted, you can definitely tell Aang and Korra are on there and almost certainly playable in the game. This Amazon description also says the game will have 22 themed stages, which lines up perfectly with home stage theory and the 22 character lineup we've been shown. So most likely home stage theory is correct and there will be 22 characters and 22 stages with each fighter having their own home stage. We have seen 2 Avatar stages and 1 Legend of Korra stage. We have Aang and Korra on the leaked box art cover, so that would leave 1 more Avatar rep for the Omashu stage. My guess last time was that it would be Toph. Of course, there is a theory that we actually don't have 3 stages for the Avatar series, and that maybe what we've seen is a single Avatar stage for Aang, that is actually a traveling stage and transforms between locations from potentially all 4 nations. We've just so far only seen the air and earth ones. Would be a very cool stage, but since we don't have any actual evidence that's what's going on here, that it's a transformation stage, I'm going to continue to assume there will be 1 more Avatar fighter and that we have these 3 different stages, 1 for Aang, 1 for Korra, and 1 for an unknown fighter. My guess for that unrevealed fighter and the Omashu stage is probably Toph. I've also seen a lot of theories involving which other series might end up with a fighter on this roster by the end. Mostly these theories have to do with series relevancy, especially in regard to which series get pushed alongside the series we already have confirmed for like 90s nostalgia, and which series have gotten attention lately. My guess is if another Nicktoon series is added that we don't already know about, it'll likely be Rocko's Modern Life, as it had that Static Cling movie revival and just seems to get pushed a lot alongside everything else with 90s nostalgia. Plus, I'm just a big fan of Rocko, so I'd love to see him on the roster. Rocko or any other character from the series like Heifer or Filbert would likely end up as my other main alongside Invader Zim. I was a big fan of Rocko growing up. So because of that, this remains my guess at the final roster. Toph could be some other Avatar character like Zuko, but I'm thinking it's Toph. And while the Garfield leak might not be real, I still think Garfield seems very likely, and the more time has gone on, the leak seems more and more legit to me. Just seems the more people dig into that leak, the more it has going in its favor of being actually real. Of course, that's basically what happened with the Grinch leak, so who knows. There's also the possibility Ren and Stimpy are separate fighters, in which case this would be my guess at the final roster. But I'd really prefer if we had more series added to the game and Ren and Stimpy were a duo fighter. So I'm holding out hope here that Ren and Stimpy are in fact a duo and Rocco still has a chance. The devs have outright said they have no idea if there will be any DLC or post-launch support content for this game, but it would be really awesome if there was. I hope the game sells well enough to really push for Nickelodeon to throw some more money at the budget and we get some DLC. This was my best case scenario roster after possibly getting some DLC, and I'd still like to see this or something similar to this become a reality. So again, hopefully Nickelodeon has noticed the huge amount of fan support this game has gained, and hopefully the game will sell really well, and Nickelodeon will support it to do further DLC, and we'll get some more DLC characters by the end. But that's entirely in the hands of Nickelodeon, so let's just be hopeful here. Alright, well that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Cool to finally see the box art in non-silhouette form. What do you guys think of the Garfield leak? I have to admit, I'm leaning more towards it being real than fake lately. But I don't want to go against the word of the devs, but maybe it's just an odd situation where they truly believed it wasn't a leak at first, but it actually is, just from another company that's involved with this game. I'm really not sure what to think on this one. Anyway, if you have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to PapaGenos!
Twitter, Patreon, Discord.